Hey, it's Erie, owner of Aerobic Strength and Conditioning. Today I'm going to be talking about part 4 of our What Is It series, levers. I'm going to jump right in and explain how it applies to riding using these two pictures here. So I'm going to go ahead and label them for you, and as I'm labeling them, I'll explain the difference and how levers make a difference in riding. So there are these two positions here. There's one where you're standing up nice and or sitting nice and tall in the saddle with good posture, and then the other one is either when you have a forward lean or you're in a 2-point position, for example. So of course the green represents your head, which is about maybe like 9 to 10 pounds for the average person. So just keep that in mind for now. And the little purple dot here are your hips, and your hips act as the pivot point or the fulcrum for your upper body. So when you lean forward, you're pivoting from your hips. So I'm going to go ahead and label this fulcrum. So that's the same in both pictures. And there's something called the moment arm, which is the distance between the fulcrum and where force is applied. So in this example here, when you're sitting up nice and tall, the force of your head, like the weight of your head, is going straight down. So right on top of the fulcrum. So there's not much to pull yourself off balance in that example. So you're not really working too hard when you're sitting up nice and tall. There's not much that you need to fight against, whether you're too far back and your abs are trying to hold you up, or you're leaning too far forward and your back muscles are trying to keep you from falling forward even more. Whereas in this picture, when your head is past the fulcrum, you have the force coming down this way. And the moment arm is this distance right in here. So it's the distance between the fulcrum and the resistive force. So comparing the two pictures, you see that in this example, like I said before, there's not much to pull you off balance. Whereas in this picture, with your head forward, there's that force from the weight of your head that wants to pull you even further forward. And that's something called moment or torque, which is how likely that resistive force, in this case the weight of your head, is to actually pull you forward and cause a rotation around the fulcrum or pivot point. Mathematically, that looks like this equation, moment or torque. It's the same concept, just a different word for it, as the resistive force, in this case the weight of your head, times the length of moment arm. So in this example, the resistive force is the same. Your head's 9 pounds in both situations. But here, the length of the moment arm is essentially 0 because your head is stacked right on top of your hips. Whereas here, the moment arm is however far you're leaning forward, whether that's just like 3 inches or even 6 inches past your hips. So that's where moment comes into play. And that's what makes it hard to keep your balance when you have that forward posture, and that's why you have to work harder when you're in a 2-point position to keep yourself in tune with or in sync with the horse and not off balance. So that's how it relates, or one example of how it relates to riding. But as far as exercise progression, this can also work to your advantage. So if you've ever done a plank on your knees, you know that that's easier than doing a plank on your toes, and it's because of the same reason. When you're on your knees, you have a shorter moment arm than when you're on your toes, and you're pivoting around either your knees or your toes. So you're extending the pivot point out when you're on your toes. So that's adding to the length of the moment arm, which will then increase the moment, making it more likely that you're gonna rotate around the fulcrum. I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comments or send me an email. Visit my website also to check out the original blog post. I have a couple diagrams in there that might help you make sense of this all. So that's it for today. Next time I'll be talking about part 5, periodization. Take care.